program began in 1990 and admitted its first class in the fall of 1990. 1992 was the first graduating class, and since then, with the exception of 1 year, we've had a graduating class every year. The bridge between academics and work is a challenging one. We recommend that students not work while they're enrolled in the program. We recommend that because as you move through the program, from the first semester through the fifth semester, the quantity of academics increases as well as the workload. And not only that, but you spend a lot of your time with your classmates reviewing for exams. And because that time can often go into the evening and on the weekends, you're going to find that you're going to be challenged with trying to get to work and trying to balance your academic life. A lot of students think that you can go from a PTA degree to a PT degree with ease. But the realities are that the PTA degree is a 2-year degree that you get at a community college. And a physical therapy degree can be 6 years or more and is often at a university. The transition to the doctoral level in recent years has made the attainment of getting that degree much more challenging for students. It's not going to be an easy pathway, and therefore I recommend that if you want to be a PT, that's the way that you go. If you want to be a PTA, then you choose that route. On paper, it is a 5-semester program. We have a specialized admissions requirement that requires that the student complete 4 courses prior to being selected through the specialized admissions procedure. Those 4 courses are Anatomy and Physiology 1, Anatomy and Physiology 2, Medical Terminology, and the Introduction to Physical Therapy course. This Introduction to Physical Therapy course is also a dual credit course. So if you're in high school within the El Paso area, you might want to think about taking that course to get college credit. So the first semester has several courses in it. As we move through semesters 3, 4, and 5, you become introduced to the clinical environment. In our second semester, we have a pro bono falls risk clinic in which you are actually working with real individuals and practicing all the information that you have learned so far. After the second semester, you move into your first summer. That first summer is where you go out into the El Paso area and you work in a hospital environment for the entire summer. After that, you come back, and for the next 2 semesters, you are totally immersed in the program, learning about neurology and neuromuscular pathologies and doing the application of that. In your final semester, you are back in clinic one more time, so that's 3 clinicals that you're going to have, and you're also preparing to take the mock licensing exam. The mock licensing exam prepares you for the real licensing exam. In order to work as a physical therapist assistant, not only do you have to graduate from an accredited physical therapist assistant program, but you also have to pass the state licensing exam. Both the physical therapist and the physical therapist assistant work together. The physical therapist assistant, though, works under the direct supervision of a physical therapist, whereas the physical therapist can work independently. However, they do very similar things. They work in a variety of work environments that are really fun. For example, you know the traditional ones like a hospital, an outpatient physical therapy clinic. But there are also places to work, for example, the school system, early childhood education. There is teaching. There are specialty clinics like wound clinics. There's a variety of work environments that you can work in, and when you get bored with one, there's a whole bunch more that you can also work in. There are so many variations about the types of patients you work in and the work environments that you work in that there's no way that you could ever get bored. This is a career for a lifetime. When you get bored with one work environment and you've learned everything you think you need to know, you can move on to the next one and suddenly you realize, oh my, there's a whole bunch more that you need to know, and that can keep moving on through decades of life. I've been a physical therapist for over 30 years, and I have never ever wanted to be anything other than a physical therapist. Now I'm an instructor and I teach students, and that's another job career that could be a possibility for you.
When I came into the program, learned a lot of medical stuff, a lot of background, a lot of anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, exercise, rehab protocols, and once you start getting into the groove of it after your first year of school, you really think you're learning a lot, and you feel real confident about what you're getting into and how you're going to like it as a therapist. And then you take your board exam, extremely stressful, pass it, start working, and now it's 4 years later basically. I'm back in the program, which is kind of surreal.
The distinguishment of EPCC graduates from other employees is their level of education. They are put through different courses that provide a good foundational background for some of the services provided by physical therapists. It's not always easy finding a good PTA. When we are in physical therapy school, we are always told we need to make sure we find someone trustworthy that has good foundational skills, because they're the ones that are going to be left alone treating your clients. They are essentially an extension of our license. And you need to make sure you do have someone that you can trust and that knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And I really honestly think that EPCC gives their students the education, foundational background, and responsibility that they need to be productive physical therapist assistants anywhere in the country.
What I would say is that based on my own personal experience with them, they have a very solid background that will encourage any employer to have them in a setting. Very easy to coach, very easy to advise, and especially feel into the home care setting. Especially when you work in the home care, it requires a lot. You need to know how to demonstrate things, you need to know how to plan your day, you need to know how to organize. So I can tell you very well, those ones that I work with over the years are very good organization, and they also have a very good clinical background that we need to build up in order to perform the job that they do in the home care setting. So those two things do stand out for me very highly, that will encourage me to hire anybody from that setting.
Ready for your tour? Okay. So this is the Therapeutic Modalities Lab. This is where we learn all the fun stuff. We learn each other's muscles by using these plinths. This is a very important lab. We spent many hours in here. We learned how to do massage. We learned how to know what muscles are what. We learned the joints. We learned all kinds of fun stuff. Over here is all the equipment we need. There's paraffin wax and e-stim machines and also ultrasound. And now let's come over to the gym and I'll show you some of the fun equipment we get to use with the patients. So this is one of the mats we use when we do stretching and work with the patients for anything that they need to sit down for. Here's the bicycles. It's just like going to a real gym, except it's actually therapy. And you get paid much more than a therapeutic trainer, so physical therapist assistants are awesome. Here's a treadmill. And here's some more recumbent bikes. And that's the tour of the gym.
What makes our program unique? One of the things is that there has been consistency with the faculty for the last 20 years. In addition to that, there are graduates that are now working in the program, and this brings continuity not only to the curriculum, but also to the way in which the material is presented and how the students are evaluated. The other thing that I want you to know is that we have a 90% graduation rate from our program, which pretty much guarantees you that once you get into the program, you're going to graduate from the program. I hope that you'll choose El Paso Community College as the best place to start and our Physical Therapist Assistant program as your career.